It had to be the man. Excellent finish, Mo Salah. City should have known better. He came prepared. He bagged the goal. Brilliant performance. We're starting off at Anfield. Starting with you, Matthew.
Yes.
City 2, Liverpool 2. Two of the title contenders. Two teams that you are watching eagerly this season to see how they perform. What did you think about that massive game?
Second half at least, very, very even, very, very fair. I think a draw in the long run is a fair result if you ignore from what happened in the first half, because I don't remember much of it anyway. And it was a fantastic game of football from a neutral point of view. Never mind we're their title rivals. It was just a fantastic half to watch. Mo Salah's reminding everyone why we need to put respect on the guy's name and how he I mean, after all, he's recently a Centurion. That goal came from absolutely nowhere, and he stays fit regardless of his age. And I know he's going to AFCON. If he stays fit, he's going to be so effective in this title picture. Didn't you say he think he might get top scorer this year?
Did I say Salah? No, I said Lukaku.
I didn't say. I know. I definitely didn't say Salah.
Yeah.
I didn't say Salah. Well, maybe, just maybe. I mean, it's still early days. Still, it's only October, but if he can keep that up, I think we might have to consider it. I mean, was it the second goal? Was it the second goal?
Equaliser, yeah.
The equaliser. Wow,
2-2,
I mean,
yeah.
come on. I mean, not to brag, it kind of reminded me a little bit of what Eden Hazard did to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, how he just ghosted by, literally exactly the same. I think Salah's was a little bit better because it purely came from absolutely nothing. I mean, wow. What a goal. Goal of the month is kind of solved in my book. But you have to give credit to City as well. You have to give them credit. They didn't give up. Phil Foden, fantastic goal as well. And Raheem Sterling doing his best to not getting away of a shot from Kevin De Bruyne as well. I mean, it was a fantastic half, and I'm happy with a draw because we're still temporarily top of the table. So I'll take that for the moment. We don't play either. We've played both of them recently, so I don't have to look to playing them again for some sort of time. So I'll continue to watch them, but that half has shown just what we're working with. An absolutely fantastic game. But I can't help but think if City has a certain someone or a certain position or a player in there, the game wouldn't have swung. I don't know, but I'll take the draw. Fantastic second half of football.
Yeah, it was definitely a fascinating game. I think for me, and touching back on that Salah goal in particular, because he's done that before. You know, it's not the first time he's done that. I mean, for me, like, he sent Laporte to the kebab shop.
Yeah.
Said to him, get me a number 5.
He's probably still there.
With Coke, and I want dessert. Oh, I misses that as well. And get something for Virgil.
He's hungry, right?
Laporte was gone, not coming back. And I think it does beg the question now, of course, when you look at it's an early season so far. I've only played about a handful of games. So we can't really make two kind of sweeping judgments on players and how they are. But for you, Craig, would you say, looking at his performances so far, what he's done this season and the levels he's able to hit, would you say that Salah might be one of the best players in the world?
Definitely, because he's done better than what was expected of him this season. Since he's been in England, he's been close to winning the Golden Boot almost every season. He's been challenging for the Golden Boot ever since he's been there, and that's an amazing record for a player. He's got 100 goals for Liverpool. He's not a number 9. He's a wide forward, and he scored 100 goals. Him and Mane done very well. Scored 100. Both of them scored 100 goals now. Even their striker Firmino has scored 100 goals for Liverpool, and that goes to show. So, to be honest with you, Salah has done well, and I think, to be honest with you, if you're on current form, I'll put him up there with Lewandowski, Haaland, Messi, Ronaldo. I'll put him up. I think he's the best right now. I think he's been in top world class. If they were giving out world class players reward for this season, I'll give it to Salah.
Fantastic player.
Class player.
And I think it does. That's the kind of thing that's going to help Liverpool this season in particular, because you want to have your best players stepping up and making those key performances. Obviously for City, it was a draw. And like I said, Matthew, they had some good goals, good performances across the board. That decision not to secure a certified number 9 may be a bit of a hindrance as the year goes on, but we shall see. And we'll go from two teams who are absolutely flying at the very, very top of the table to two teams that have definitely captured the heart of many fans this season. Maybe not all, because rivalry still exists. Of course, I'm talking about West Ham Brentford. 2-1 away win for Brentford at the London Stadium. Very interesting result. For you, What does Brentford's start to the season kind of mean going forward?
They've kind of taken on where kind of like what Wolves did when they came up, and a little way, but how Leeds when they came up, kind of showing no fear, not backing down, just applying their style of football, not necessarily with big stars, but just with good coaching, with coaches who understand the game very, very well, and applying that to the Premier League, just taking it by an absolute storm, hit the ground running, no backing down, no fear, not holding back with what they can do. And you have to say, well, we said before that Brentford, they've done brilliantly since they've been back. They've only lost one game. If you would say a newly promoted team that you're going to play Arsenal and Liverpool in your first opening games and you didn't lose to either one, you take that with an absolute heartbeat. And I watched some highlights of that game, and their application, their attitude, their drive, their grit, just not holding back, even when they go a goal down. Because arguably they could have had more. Ivan Toney missed. I think he had a good shot saved by Fabianski. So it doesn't matter the fact he's not necessarily getting in the goals, but he's part of the fold. He's taking it from the front in the way that his hold up play is encouraging others to come through. And they got goals seemingly coming from all over. It doesn't seem to matter. They're going to have a pop, have a shot. Stop this whole, what I like of watching about them is they're going to have a, you remember when back in the days in Premier League, like 2000s times when they were having cracks from any corner of the pitch.
Yeah.
That's how their second goal came about. Put your foot through it. See what can happen. It's towards the end of the game. You just don't know. And it looks better to like have a cheeky little pass around, stick to your guns. But sometimes you just got to take a sledgehammer to it, put your foot through, and as a result, they got their goal. So it's like I don't know whether they've watched that kind of idea of football or their confidence is at an absolute high. Because beating West Ham is not a small at home. At home it's not a small feat. And West Ham are they're doing well at the moment. They're still in the top half of the Premier League. They're unbeaten at the moment in their European games. So they're moving in the right way, and they've got a good defence. They've got a good defence. They've still got goal scorers like with Antonio, and I think Bowen got their goal as well. So they're not a minnow team. They mean business. And Brentford came by and thought, nah, this is not today. As much as I know we will beat them when we play them, I am very wary of what they can do. If they can do it to Liverpool, Arsenal and West Ham, they're going to give us a bit of a challenge. They really are. But I am impressed by what I've seen.
They're going to be a very, very tough team to beat because they set up really well. They have a really well-defined philosophy, and they just don't fear anyone.
They don't.
They play very consistent. You touched on West Ham, coming into this game with a very good record in Europe. I think they've won all their games so far.
They've won all their games,
which is amazing. One of the things, like looking at this season, was how are they going to manage balancing playing on Thursdays to Sundays, and so far they're doing so well. I'd take this game as a blip. For you, Craig, would you say there was a lot of encouragement for West Ham, even though they lost this match?
Yeah. I think it was good. It was good. It was a good game of two informed teams. West Ham are carrying their form from last season, and Brentford are carrying that confidence from the Championship last season. For the last couple of seasons, they've been unlucky to get promoted a couple of seasons. They lost out to Fulham. Unlucky. I think the season before last, lost out to Fulham in the playoff final.
Playoffs, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they were really designed to get to the Premier League at some stage. They got a brand new stadium, state of the art stadium. And I think they'll do well this season. I think if they continue the way they continue, they will be in the top half of the table, top 10, maybe 8 or 9, 10. Yeah, they'll be that part of the table, I would say.
And what's really interesting with both these teams is that it's the contrast in fortunes for them. They're having really good seasons, and we're going to switch over to a team that's having a bit of an inconsistent patch. We were expecting a lot more, and not quite delivering it. They drew at home 1-1. Of course, talking about Manchester. Ollie is very much at the wheel, and long may it continue. Right, so they drew at home. Another performance where it just didn't really get started. Andros Townsend with the absolute muggery of scoring, not only scoring at Old Trafford, but then to do Ronaldo's celebration. But not only that, to then try and ask the man for his shirt at full time. I mean, there are limits. There are limits to the football, to what you do, I think you kind of pushed it a bit far. Another good result for you. I mean, they are still third, Man United. So it's not like they're in a crisis zone, but just similar to last week and their European adventures in midweek, there's starting to be a bit of a pattern emerging in terms of their play. Now, the big question is Solskjaer able to find that missing click to get them going? Do you feel like he might be at the end of the road? Bearing in mind, they're only third. They're 2 points off first. So it's not like it's a crisis, but there is a pattern emerging.
Well, if he keeps on approaching, he's approaching it like he's playing FIFA at the moment, where he's just taking on players and putting them in places. I've had a discussion with this the other day with my brother, and we came to the realization is like, in name, they got stars in name, but it's almost like you are playing FIFA. One's going to put this person there, that person there, that person there. It doesn't really matter. You could have, I don't know, you could have Will Grigg playing next to Mbappe. He's got Varane playing next to Maguire. There's a mismatch, a big mismatch there. Plus, Varane's just come over. Haven't been in Spain for how long? Bear in mind, he was playing next to Ramos for how many years? So I'm not saying for a long time. I'm not saying Ramos. Maguire is a bad defender, but he's not Ramos. And it's the same thing with all around the pitch with Ronaldo and Sancho and what I was going about. But we've been saying this for he's saying how long do you think his time's running out? We've been saying this for a while. You know, he's had bad patches before. I think one time they finished outside the top 4. Yeah, last year, and I know last year they finished in the top in the top 2, but still they're still a bit away behind Man City. So should he be gone? Yes. Will he go? That's a little bit more difficult. He's like he's riding on hope. He's like he has 9 lives. He's like he's a cat. He's riding on so many chances. The amount of money he's had, the amount of the players he's got, the amount of FIFA he's playing to try and sort out his team. Clearly, play Football Manager instead, because that's going to be much better for you to understand. But this can't go on. And we're also already seeing the contrast is between not just him, the players. When Ronaldo's coming off, you saw a man who's used to winning, used to doing his best and delivering on every single game. I mean, throwing your toys out the pram, fine. But any other day, Ollie was smiling. I mean, what exactly have you got to smile for?
He had his tongue out on full, like at one point near the end of the game, and I'm thinking, are you happy? Yeah. Did
you see what we seen? Let's be brutally honest. Towards the end of the game, they probably could have lost if it wasn't for an offside goal. They probably could have lost. It's what is going? What luck do you have? What have you drunk to get that kind of luck? What have you eaten to get that kind of luck? I honestly want some. But you know what's going to happen though? They'll go on another good run, and let's say you won in the next 2 games or something, and everything will be fine. But it's like we know Man United in the past have done better with, let's be honest, worse players. You've got it good. I mean, you're able to put Ronaldo on your bench, and it still ain't working. Well, it's not working, but it's spotty at best. It's inconsistent, sporadic. Like, when's it gonna give? I mean, I'm not saying I want him to be fired. Like I say, please stay for as long as you want. Stay as long as you want. Really, really, truly. There is literally no rush. So I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know.
And the funny thing is, I remember a couple of years ago there was a discussion about Arsenal and Man United and their rebuilds and who's like better placed to capitalize. And I think a lot of when you looked at it on paper, Man United looked further ahead or better placed anyway because of how they invest the money. They have a better structure to things. But this indecisiveness with the head coach may be the one thing that might... Okay, let me not even say anymore because I can't say it's going to tip the scales because we're way behind them. So let's see how the season plays out.
I mean,
first.
You are, but in a way that's kind of working in your favour because you're not in Europe at the moment. So you're trying to work to get back into it. So really and truly, as far as things to lose, you have a lot less. You're much more of a project than they are. You haven't spent anywhere near as much.
No, we spent more than them this summer.
This summer, I mean, in past seasons, apart from this one season, you haven't.
No, we've spent money.
You have spent.
Arsenal spent money. The money's not an excuse anymore. We spent badly.
You spent.
We spent.
Where it's going, I don't know. But it's like, with what they've got in the names that they have, they should be where they are. What's the excuse not to go that little bit further?
Okay, big question then for Man United. Go over to you, Craig. So obviously they're having an inconsistent season. They're still third.
Yeah.
Like, it's not terrible. But 7 games, 14 points. So that's not too bad on paper. It's reasonable. If that trend continues, they could still be in with a shout in the running. What would it take for like the board to feel like we need to make a decision on him? And why do you think they haven't done it so far?
Because he won the trouble for them in '99. He scored the winner in the Champions League final. He's living off that. Let's be real. Because Mourinho was there. Mourinho won trophies. They got rid of him. Van Gaal won a trophy. They got rid of him.
Van Gaal got fired before the FA Cup final and announced during the press conference. That was shambolic.
Who else? Who was the manager? David Moyes. David Moyes only got.
David Moyes should have been fired and he got fired. That's deserved.
But the thing is, how much more longer can you be loyal to a treble winner? You have to be honest. If you're not winning trophies, Man United have lost out on a lot of trophies. They've been to a lot of finals and semi-finals and haven't won anything. Arsenal have been to finals and won. The last couple of years we've won.
Yeah.
So if you want to go in comparison, Man United have spent a lot of money on big name players. Cavani's a big name player. Sancho's a big name player. Ronaldo is a world class player. Varane is a world class defender. Won the World Cup, Champions League 5 times or 4 times. So there's no more excuses anymore of them not winning trophies. So my advice is, if they don't win a trophy this season, he has to go. That's my honest opinion. He has to go because you can't be spending every season you're rebuilding. It's like building a house. Then you stop building it, you complete it, then you continue building. After a while, what's the point?
That's a good point.
True, yeah.
That is a good point. And I think that's going to be interesting with them, what they do this year and what the fan base expects as well. Moving over from one project where, in a way, they're kind of well placed to another one that's also well placed. Of course, Arsenal drew against Brighton 0-0 at the weekend. Very interesting, a wet day. A match which, on reflection, it is a 0.1, but at the same time, it's a game where it should have been. It's the kind of match where, with the ambitions Arsenal have, you just have to make it work and get those 3 points. For you, looking back on that match, Matthew, do you feel that Mikel Arteta has enough of the foundation to take Arsenal to where they want to get to?
In terms of the players that he wanted and that he got, according to him, yes, he has, possibly. He got the players that he wanted very, very last minute, but he got them. And there have been, at least in the last 2, 3, 4 games he played, they have probably been the ones that have been showing the most, that they've been your brightest stars, kind of taking that burden away from some of your younger players who are always going to burn them out. At the moment, now you haven't lost your last 4 games. It's going well. It is working. A draw against Brighton, in hindsight, is nothing to be ashamed of because this has been your hardest game since the restart. Bar Tottenham. I know Tottenham still got star players, but I don't know. I think they forgot to wake up their bed on the North London derby, if I'm brutally honest. Brighton was always going to be a harder task on the form they've got right now, when the football they're playing and just how Graham Potter's got them set up. It is a point gained. I do agree that it is a point gained. Your next few games, because it's hard to ignore the first 3. Your next few games are after the restart again. It's like another restart after the international break. Will be telling more. If you can do what you did against Spurs and play like the way you played, I think you're going to be looking up in the right way. You want to be hovering around that European table spot, like 7th minimum. Be hovering around with a chance to kind of look up a little bit more. Because when you fall out, it's very, very hard to get back in there again. So at the moment, he, minus the European football every week, he does have the tools. If he can keep them fit, maybe make a little cheeky addition in January just to bolster that a little bit more. You got some players there that are on the descendancy, on their saturation period. So if you can keep going the way you're going right now, because you defended really well against Brighton, defended really, really well. You might be all right. You might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, the next 2 games you've got are Palace at home and then Leicester away. So those are 2 Palace at home, Villa at home, and then Leicester away. So that's also next 3 games. So it's going to be very interesting. Those are the kind of fixtures where you're hoping for at least 7 points, 2 wins and a draw.
Can be done.
9 if you really want to make that big step up. And anything less than that is 5 points is well, yeah. But I was really impressed with Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah,
I think when we signed him, it felt like a very strange decision. A lot of money spent on a player that he's been relegated twice, 2 seasons in a row. Got player of the year for both clubs 2 seasons in a row. I think he's got it 3 years in a row. Actually,
yeah,
now.
3 years. Yeah.
So it's clear there's something about him, and he showed more and more why he's been a key player to bring in. For you, looking at the squad, are you quite happy with the signings we've made so far?
Yeah.
And the impact they're having on what we're doing?
Yeah. Ramsdale to be honest, Ramsdale made a world-class save on Saturday for Morpay. Morpay had a tap in and he just used his hand and went bang. By the time Morpay checked it, the ball was already gone out. So I have to say that Ramsdale's really impressed me. He's won me over. I was a bit like, all that money for a goalkeeper who's been relegated twice. Well, he's really surprised me. The back four is solid. I think if we need to add him in January, I'll say we need 2 or 3 players in January. Centre mid to play against Partey. I'll say another striker to replace Lacazette if Lacazette goes in the summer. And I will say maybe another centre back. I know Saliba's going to come back because I heard today that Saliba, they want Saliba back next season, and they just want him to load him out just to give him confidence and get him more experience in playing in Europe as well. So I think we need one more centre back, and the players that I will sell will be Callum Chambers, Pablo Mari, Rob Holding, Cedric, Kanatsalat, whatever his name is, those players, and Leno as well. If we can sell them players in January, we can generate enough money to buy 3 or 4 top-class players with that money.
That's a big if. I mean, Kolasinac, we've tried to give him away. He's still here. Literally, still here. So it's very hard, and players don't actually want to go. El Neni as well could be added to that list.
Oh, Neni as well. Yeah, I forgot El Neni.
Yeah, I think this is a game where we'll take the point. I think it's one for me. The concern is that our attacking play is still not quite right. Yeah, even though we beat Spurs 3-1, it was a very happy, result.
Away,
there's just even in that game we didn't create a lot of chances. Like, and we didn't, because I remember the Arsenal of old, and we used to pepper teams with chances, like chance. This one, it's still percentage football. You're still hoping that the 1 or 2 or 3 good chances you make ends up in a goal, and we need to go for volume as well as quality. Yeah. And right now the quality isn't quite there, and the volume is definitely not there. So that's a big concern.
I think Arteta needs to let the players just attack and score goals, not be too defensive. We've got the solidarity. We've got Partey holding, so I think he's got the back 5 with the goalkeeper and Partey 6. So I think you should let the other players just attack and score goals. Just be ruthless. And I would like to see Martinelli given a chance in the team as well, because he's a good player. Last season when he came off the bench a couple of times, I remember against Palace we were drawing 1-1, and he came on and he changed the game. He scored. I think he scored one and set up one to make it 3-1. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with Arteta and him, because certain players with Arteta, like last season with Willian, for example, every game he's playing Willian wasn't playing well. And it stopped the progress of other players. Martinelli's fit and raring to play. He needs to play him.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with Martinelli. Definitely Willian. That was a stupid decision.
Thanks.
You guys knew. So
thank you very much.
So he gave him to us.
We warned you.
And we'll move over to Chelsea now. A nice, comfortable 3-1 win. Of course, Timo Werner got a goal.
Hooray.
Hallelujah. Because it's felt like that's been the hardest thing for him to do. I was really concerned that he didn't know what it meant to score a goal anymore, but thank God he knows what to do. Were you happy with your performance at the weekend?
I wasn't. I was more happier with. I was pleased with the results than I was the performance. But I always did know that Southampton can be stubborn when they really, really want to. And against Chelsea, you got this nagging thing where they sometimes turn to charity FC, giving away wins to teams that don't need it or deserve it. And it's just like, well, thanks, but what about us? So there was that nagging down, especially when it went 1-1. I was like, oh no, here we go again. Charity FC has made a comeback. But it took, Ward Prowse, I don't know if it was slipping or if it was on dancing on ice or something, and Jorginho probably looked like he got shot. But to be in fairness, there was studs up. Them's the rules these days, so he's got to go. And I think Mo got that little bit of a mojo and got us our goals back. Timo technically did score 2. Thank goodness the first one was not offside. That was my first fear because it wasn't on TV, and I was like, he scored. Yes. I saw one correction. One was like, oh no, please tell me he's not offside. No, he wasn't. It was a foul. I was like, oh, thank goodness for that. We're learning. But he worked like a dog that day. He absolutely works like a dog. If he can convert his work rate into goals, he can get probably 20. No issue. His work rate deserves way more goals, way more. And I'm happy he actually got it. Saw his face at how much it meant to him. But it's one of those games where if you're going to go ahead and win the title, you've got to do games like this where you need a twist in the tail to kind of change things up a little bit. I don't know what the result would have been with 11 men. I think we would have won, but maybe not by 3, maybe 2-1 or something. But it's one of those games that you've got to just grind and dig and play a little bit to try and get it out. But I'm happy with the win. The win's the most important thing, and we've got potentially another stump in the road in Brentford and after the international break. So let's hope at least the performance is a little bit better. But the wins are especially the way they're riding on right now. The win is the big one.
Big one. Brentford's going to be a tricky one after the break.
It will be.
I think beating Southampton is never an easy task because they do play good football. They set up really well at times as well. Obviously, Ward Prowse's red card made it a bit easier with the game. So I think it's definitely good for you. Your top 16 points, 12 goal difference. You're definitely moving in the right direction. We're going to move on to a team that is most definitely not moving in the right direction. Newcastle. 2-1 defeat. They are in the bottom 3, 19th with 3 points. Obviously, Norwich are bottom, absolute bottom. No surprises there. Are you worried about Newcastle, Craig?
Yes.
Because I like Newcastle. They are one of the teams that I've always had like a bit of a soft spot for because of their fan base, because of what it means for the city to have that team up there and what it means for just what they represent.
Yeah.
Are you do you look at this and feel like there's things that need to change?
I've always liked Newcastle, even in the 90s when they used to play, because they were like the most exciting team to watch in the 90s when they had Ginola, Les Ferdinand, Alan Shearer, and they had a great team.
And they had a wavy kit.
And a wavy manager. He was just unlucky not to win the league. Fergie mind games messed him up.
Fantastic.
I'll love it if we beat them. Love it. But in all honesty, Newcastle are really struggling this season. I think the problem is they're not scoring enough goals. They're conceding too many goals. Willock has not been in form. The whole team's not in form. Wilson's always injured. If Wilson could stay fit, I think they'll be okay. But he's always injured. So if they can get him fit, hope they will start scoring again, hopefully. But they need investment in that squad. 100% need investment.
Yeah, that's been the issue. Is the financial backing's not been there. We've understood that Mike Ashley's tried to sell it. It's not like he's staying for the sake of staying. It's just if you can't get a buyer, what can you do? And how they set up. I mean, Joe Ellington, I don't know what he's supposed to be. He just doesn't do what I think he should do, which is score.
Or play football.
Almiron, I feel like there should be more goals that come out of him. He works for the way he plays. There should be more goals. But I'm concerned for Newcastle. I'm hoping that this is not the season when they just don't have enough, because they always seem to just pull it out the bag and go on a run. And I'm concerned this might be the year when they just don't quite have enough in them.
I personally feel that maybe if it continues like this, they might have to make a managerial change.
But who's going to come? I mean, there's people available.
There's loads of managers available.
Eddie Howe, maybe.
Chris Hughton's available. He's a good manager.
He's been there before.
But he's a good manager.
But would he go back, considering how he was treated on his way out?
Yeah, the way how they sacked him as well.
No.
Nigel Worthington's available. Ex-Leicester manager. He's a good manager.
Pearson, you mean? Nigel Pearson?
No, so Nigel Pearson.
Yeah.
He's a good manager.
He used to be at Villa. He was at Villa? No, he was at Leicester, yeah.
And he was at Watford as well. Yeah, he's a good manager. So there are managers available. Alan Partridge is available.
Would he go back?
He did well his first spell there.
Yeah,
quite
but would
well.
you go back? It's one. I think that's the tricky thing for Newcastle. There's options out there they could go for. Eddie Howe, you're gambling on the style of football. The fans might get behind it because it's exciting, but of course you got Bournemouth relegated as well. So there's that risk factor. You've got all their previous managers, Houghton, who I thought had a good blend of the football, in it being it was relatively exciting, but also quite pragmatic.
Good.
Pardew, again on his day, they played some great stuff. And then, of course, or if they really want to go safe, they got Big Sam.
Big Sam.
We always got Big Sam as an option.
I think he's in retirement now still. I think he retired last season. That's why he left West Brom.
I don't think
he's in
he'll go back
retirement.
anyway.
I don't think he's going to come out of retirement.
So yeah, it depends what they want to do.
They just missed out on Ranieri. Just missed out on him.
Yeah. So it's tough, but I hope they can pull it off. And over to the last game we're going to talk about. Obviously, we know Spurs won 2-1 against Villa. That's all we need to say about that. Don't really care about the performances or anything else to do with it. Frankly, I don't think they care themselves. Crystal Palace, the team that we probably care about more than the other London team that happen to still be in the league, even though they should get relegated because they're rubbish. 2-2 draw. They pulled it back against Leicester. Leicester, this is now... Brendan Rodgers. When he was at Liverpool, a lot of their fans were not happy with him. Said he was a bit of a fraud. And he got fired when he botched that league run when they should have won it.
They should have won.
Absolutely botched it. Gone to Leicester, and last season they should have made the Champions League comfortably.
Should have
botched it in the run-in, and now you're starting to wonder: is there a pattern emerging with him? Is there a pattern emerging, or do you want to take that one, Craig?
I'll take this one.
Yeah, you go. You take it.
I feel like he reminds me of Mourinho.
Oh,
He does.
It.
Wait.
it.
Let me land. Let me land.
Go on then. Steaming hot take.
When Mourinho first came to England and he was at Chelsea, his first 2 seasons was great. His third season, they struggled.
But what?
And he got sacked. Rodgers, when he came to Leicester, the first 2 seasons were good. Now he's in his third or fourth season. They're struggling. Same at Liverpool. When he was at Liverpool, the first 2 seasons were amazing. Almost won the league, but he bottled it. Now his first season he got sacked. So it's a repeating trend. Every time he gets to his third season or fourth season, he struggles.
This is like comparing Kerry Hilson to Beyonce. Okay, they both sing, but there's levels.
Nah, but
There's levels.
there's no levels.
There is levels.
There's no levels.
You can't compare Mourinho's 2 seasons at Chelsea where he won the league.
When Mourinho was at Man United, then he did well at Man United in the first season. Second season won a couple of trophies. Third season he got sacked. So I am right in that analogy what I just said.
I'm still saying it's like comparing Kerry Hilson.
No. I don't
They
think so.
both sing.
No.
And
I don't
that's
think
about
so.
as close as it
I don't
gets to
think
each
so.
other.
No, I think Rodgers. To be honest with you, Rodgers like
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, third season syndrome could be a thing for him. I don't know if I would go all the way to say it's like Mourinho in that sense. I feel like there are some serious failings in how he manages players and egos. I think he's someone who doesn't quite have that personality to be able to exert his will over people the same way Mourinho can. The issue of Mourinho in the latter seasons with Man United and of course when he came back to Chelsea is that his tactics didn't work the same way anymore because players have changed a lot. And you need strong personalities to that like being challenged in that way. However, interesting take. Very interesting take. Let's switch over to Crystal Palace, managed by Vieira. And I love their comeback. Mikel Olise coming off the bench and absolutely bossing it to the extent now where I feel like he needs to start.
Yeah.
What do you think about Palace's start and how they're playing?
Brave. No, that typical South London. It's that South London attitude of just come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Everyone talks about down south and they epitomise what's going on down there right now. Just no quick. Because Leicester, they were recently won the FA Cup. They won the Charity Shield against Chelsea and Man City. So you could be forgiven to think that, ignore their underwhelming form at the moment in Europe and the league, because they haven't won in 4 games now. They're still riding on some kind of a high from the past couple of months, but that young energy is coming through. I keep on talking about the word Crystal Palace is youth. We say the word South. It's youth. And what was the name of the guy who scored the first goal?
Mikel Olise.
What a goal. Great goal. Great energy. Just coming on, just taking it by absolute storm, putting it past Schmeichel. No problems. And, you'd be forgiven to think that, because even in the first half, they were hovering around the goal. Zaha had a fantastic chance to put them 1 up, but then obviously Leicester go the other way and then they go and put 2 ahead. So it's almost as if, that Leicester were knocking on that area where they were pushing towards Europe, and maybe in the future the title where they were playing, thinking that, oh well, we'll let their energy run out and then we'll capitalize on them. But unfortunately, Crystal Palace got energy to spare at the moment, and with Leicester, as good as the players that have in their defence, they don't have that kind of mentality. That title winning mentality when you got to drown players out, weathering the storms. They're not quite there yet. They haven't got the stones to do that, and as good as Brendan Rodgers has done, like he said before, he hasn't necessarily got the drive, the charisma, and the character to drum that, to kind of thing that in him. Brendan Rodgers has a lot of things. Exciting is not one of them. Crystal Palace though they are exciting. It's another draw, but it could have very easily been a loss. So you have to give them massive credit for their youngsters, and even Schlupp with his second goal, feeding off their energy. The energy is absolutely infectious, and you feed off it thinking, well, I'm just going to throw everything I have into it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me indeed of Martinelli, of what he can do, is that youth coming on for that however long, just running off that vibe, that feeling with the crowd. Because Selhurst, but it's a old school stadium. That moment, that second half of just coming back, must have been such euphoria. So, it was second half. Credit to them, and Vieira as well. Vieira, I don't know what Vieira said at half-time. I gather he wasn't very happy. Anyone who could square down Roy Keane, anyone can square down. You ain't got a chance to talk back to him. You ain't got a chance. So whatever he said, whatever he's doing at the moment, you have to say it's kind of working. These start getting some wins on, but they're not losing too much. So yeah, it's working.
Future Arsenal manager.
You know what? I think that's a good point you make. You're right in what you're saying there, Matthew. And it's a very good point you made there, Craig, as well. Like, it does feel like an unofficial audition for the Arsenal job.
It could.
It does. And so far, football-wise, I think they play better football than Arsenal play this season.
They play 100%.
I don't even think it's close. I think they play better football.
100%.
They have an issue scoring goals, so there's no change there.
You got a potential problem.
So
you say you play them next, right?
Yes.
That could be a sticky one.
You could have a little problem on your hands, man.
Still, I might have to go to that game.
Yeah.
Where's it? Emirates. Emirates.
You could have a problem.
What day the kickoff?
It's the 18th, 8:00.
Monday. I'm gonna sort my membership on Friday. I want to go.
All right.
You could potentially have a problem.
I want to go. But I know, I don't want to go and we lose though.
I don't mind. Look, if we lose, innit? We support the Arsenal up and down, innit? Win, you lose, you draw.
My record at the Emirates is amazing. I never lost a game at the Emirates. Every game I've been to the Emirates, I've always won.
You have to go then now.
Yeah.
You have to go.
I have to go.
That is true. I wish I'd remembered that in the season when Emery was there, because I would have gotten you a ticket for that Palace game.
Oh.
And Mustafi had the brain fart. You could have shouted at him. Mustafi!
Charlie, I'd have run to the pitch and slapped him.
Your games lately just have chaos between you and Palace. Just absolute chaos. Lately.
Yeah, last season it was a close game. Last season, and Roy Hodgson last game at Selhurst, even though it was a 3-1 win. It was close. It was close. It was going to be 1-1, and then Martinelli came on, and the game just changed after that.
So let's hope Arteta remembers that for the week. I mean, we played a game against Palace today. Palace QPR behind closed door friendly, beat them 3-2.
Yeah.
Obviously, some fans having a nightmare that we conceded 2 goals. We don't know the 11 that played as of now. So yeah, he's working on something. I think it's good that we are clearly putting in the work to sort of fine tune what Arsenal are doing, fine tune the system, get the players in a way, get their fitness up. So I'm quite happy with that. And we'll see how it goes going into the rest of the season. Obviously, international break is upon us. England are playing. Got other interesting games. France are playing as well. My other big, France is one of my countries. I'm back. I was backing them for the Euros. Obviously, they let me down.
Yeah.
I was always backing England. course, they let me down. But that's fine. We got to the final and we'll let that go. And we will have a special episode for our next episode. We're going to do a bit of an exploration on Arsenal. And kind of talk about the post-Wenger era and what we can do to get back to the glory days. But that's it from us for today. If you liked what listening, do give us a like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and of course, rate and subscribe to all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's been me, Clive. We've got Matthew, we've got Craig, as usual.
Come on.
Have a good evening, folks, or a good day if you're listening in the daytime, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Hey.